Hello and welcome to Colors FM 11.6. আমি আছি আজকে Tasnuva Ahamed with a very special guest on Colourful Minutes with Hend Sabry. So Hend Sabry কে নিয়ে যা বলবো অনেক কমই বলা হবে. She's a Tunisian born Egyptian movie star, a lawyer and the Goodwill Ambassador of World Food Program. So উনি আমাদের সাথে এসেছেন সেই সুদূর ইজিপ্ট থেকে আমাদের কক্সবাজারে যে রোহিঙ্গা ক্যাম্প, the largest refugee camp in the world right now. So she came to visit as the Goodwill Ambassador of World Food Program. এবং 3 দিন তার যেই ক্যাম্প ভিজিটটা ছিল সেই ভিজিটটা নিয়ে আমরা কথা বলবো এবং তার নিজস্ব মতামত, তার ভিউ অন লাইফ অ্যান্ড what she has become now from the movie star. আমরা এই পুরো জার্নিটা আজকে শুনবো. Hi, Hend. Welcome to Dhaka and Bangladesh. So how has it been so far?
Hello, thank you for having me. It has been an absolute pleasure to be in Dhaka and in Bangladesh, Cox's Bazar as well. I am extremely humbled by the kindness of the people and by the warm welcome that I had since I've been here.
So looks like you had a great time in Cox's Bazar. So I will move on to that a little bit later. But I want to ask you that what made you choose to be the Goodwill Ambassador of World Food Program?
Well, I have been a Goodwill Ambassador for WFP for more than 10 years, actually. It was not a choice as much as I was contacted by someone from WFP who is in this room today. She is accompanying me on this trip. It was back in 2008. There was a situation in Gaza and many children were being bombarded, and I felt like I wanted to do something, but I was waiting for someone to give me a voice, and WFP was there at the right time. So we worked together. First, it was not announced, it was not declared. We were together. I learned on the field. I went with them to Syria at the time. I learned their codes, their rules, what they do exactly. And 1 year later, I became officially a Goodwill Ambassador. So it has been quite a ride, 10 years, many changes in the region. In the Middle East, where I am based. So I feel very grateful that they gave me this opportunity to have a voice when it comes to humanitarian crises, and at the same time to give a voice to voiceless people.
Oh, that's really wonderful to learn from you. 10 years has been really a long ride, and you must have gained a lot of experience through it. So if I ask you that you have just recently come back from the Rohingya camp in Cox's Bazar, so how do you relate the picture that you saw in here? How did it look like? Is it being done enough, or the camps, the activities in the camps, the Rohingya people and the helps that they are getting? What do you think of that?
Well, the Rohingya refugee camp it's never enough. Nothing you can do is ever enough when it comes to a crisis that big, in terms of numbers of displaced people and also in terms of operations that WFP is involved with in the camps. I think this is the biggest WFP operation running right now in the world, one of the biggest camps in the world, if not the biggest. So I have seen a functioning camp, which is positive. I have seen people who are being attended to, at least for their basic needs. I have seen a lot of young people involved with us in WFP, on the ground, on the field, on the camps, working on not only on food distribution, not only on vouchers, but also on self-reliance, on teaching women and young men to do things for their own. A lot of vegetable gardening, because WFP is now broadening the World Food Program is now broadening the aspects of our work. So it's not only about food distribution. It is also about about food sustainability, about vegetable gardening, about eco-friendly ways to look at your life. Even if you are a refugee, you are still entitled to living a healthy life and to eating healthy foods and nutritious foods. So it has been overwhelming because, of course, the level of suffering is quite painful, but at the same time, it is very positive. The conditions of the people whom I talked to, and I talked to many, many refugees there, they were all saying that it was much better than 2 years ago when they got there. The camp was much better than when they got there, which means there is an improvement in their quality of life. Of course, it is not enough. Of course, they are refugees and stateless, but we're doing what we can.
So yeah, I did not have a chance to go myself visit there, but through your eyes, I could feel there has been a lot of improvements going around the camps. So have you noticed anything about what's the condition there on the women's rights issue? Do they know what their basic rights are as a woman? And there are a lot of newborn babies women giving birth to babies every day. So what's their future? How is it going to be like? What do you think of that?
So it is a very interesting question. Thank you for asking me, because as you know, the Rohingya people have seen and witnessed many abuses, especially women. And the women are scarred. The women I spoke to are scarred psychologically. And it's not easy to talk to them. But we in WFP have created many self-reliance programs where the women can learn skills. First of all, because they need to get, to get going, to get interested in other things than just dwell on their past or dwell on what happened, on their abuse. And they need a sense of community, because most of them are far from their families. They fled their families. They don't know where their families are. They don't know where their sisters, neighbors, cousins are, and they feel quite lonely. So the community programs that we have, the livelihood programs, are really, really interesting, because they can sew, they can make things with their hands. They can learn to read and write. There's literacy programs. And that makes them feel kind of useful again, and it gives them a voice. But it is very slow, because, as I told you, they are very scarred. As for the babies, the camp is full of babies. It is really, it's one of the first things that strike you when you get there. It's the number of children. I think more than 200,000 are less than are children under 5, so that is a lot of children being born every day there, and they are taken care of in the sense that they're not malnourished. They have better health than if they were born in Myanmar, or if they were born in the conditions before the refugee camp. At the same time, we are all, of course, very concerned about that, because these children never saw anything else but this camp, and the temporary is temporary, so the future is uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen to them. But I am confident about one thing. First, they have a chance of being educated. We saw learning centers. WFP takes care of 3,700 learning centers inside the camp. So that is a big number. With UNICEF, of course, not only us, but we partner with UNICEF and with other NGOs, with implementing NGOs to give education, they learn English and math, and Burmese. They are very happy, those children, to be there. I saw children playing football. I saw children just hanging out. There was a kite, they love playing with kites. They feel safe. And we cannot not commend the people of Bangladesh and the government of Bangladesh for giving this sense of safety to these people, because they never really had it. So I am really humbled by how the host community has been opening their arms and welcoming those people and their children.
As you were mentioning about you saw a lot of children, and the starting of my question was about women's rights. So do you see a conflict of this women's right being violated as too many children are born, or they're willingly doing this, or is there any program that is telling them how to minimize birth. Did you see anything like that?
Well, this is not really the scope of World Food Program. Our scope is much more about food and nutrition, and also, as I told you, sustainability in general when it comes to food security. These programs that you are talking about, talking to women about having less children, or having or being more aware of modes of contraception. These are this is more UN Women, and UN Women are on the ground every day. It's also, I think, other NGOs are working on this, other than UN Women, UNICEF, I guess, and UNFPA. Much less. This is not our scope, because, as you know, the United Nations is made of agencies. We collaborate together. We are partners, but each agency has its role. And we cannot be everywhere. So World Food Program is tackling women's rights in a matter of autonomy, and this autonomy can give them a voice to make decisions about their community and their family. So, for example, we have another program that works more with the host community, with the Bangladeshi people who live not far from Cox's Bazar. This morning I was there, actually, and it was a very positive program, because this is a self-help program where women from one community get together and they start entrepreneurial businesses. So they get a grant from us and from local NGOs that work with us, and they can either start a poultry, how do you call it?
Handicrafts, or
they buy poultry and they sell the eggs, or cow rearing, yeah. Cow rearing. One of them has 3 businesses. She has poultry, and she is leasing a rice crop in front of her house, and she bought a sewing machine. So we teach them how to increase their income, and because this income, when they become financially autonomous, gives them a voice to say that they're not happy with some things and they're happy with some other things, and that's exactly what women's rights are about. Because when you're financially autonomous, you can put your hand on the table and you say, this I don't like. And this, I saw it today firsthand. I saw those beautiful women and their friends, and they have a hotline. If there's something they don't like in the community, they can talk, they can call the hotline and say that, for example, there was an example of child marriage, and the women did not agree, and they voiced their opinion. And because they're together, there's a sense of community, they're less afraid. So it takes time, but especially livelihood programs, they take more time than camps, because when you work in a camp, there's an emergency to it. You have to attend to people immediately for their basic needs. But if you want to change a community in the terms of how they perceive their rights, it takes time. So we need sustainability, and we need the donors to trust us, and we need states to trust us and not to give up on us in Bangladesh, not only inside the camps, but also with the host communities.
Thanks a lot. Your answer has so much in it that every time you're describing, I can see the full picture. But what do you think that how did the host community got impacted by this crisis? These were all the good things that you saw after the Rohingyas moved in, and due to the programs of different NGOs and INGOs, they have been doing this. But what is the impact that the host community also got through the crisis?
Well, I mean, of course, it is not a small crisis. As I told you, the influx of people since 2012, but of course more so in 2017, is a very heavy influx for any country. And as I told you, it is extremely generous from the people of Bangladesh to open their arms to nearly 1 million refugees and to give them a safe space until this question gets resolved, as it should be resolved internationally, and we all should put pressure so that it is resolved internationally. And of course, there is the price markets have increased because of the presence of these people. Of course, you can feel that some people are not very happy, that they are feeling that the attention is more given to the refugees and not as much given to the host communities, and it is totally understandable. Yet, what should come first is the generosity of those people. This, we should always remember how generous the people and the government of Bangladesh have been so far. And we should also remember that this, I believe that when you do something good gets back to you in return. And I believe that this has been such a generous, such a kind gesture that it cannot be ignored by the international community as truly something that is really admirable, and it gave Bangladesh so much admiration and respect from all the international community. And as well, I think that it can benefit the host communities in a way that economically they still don't feel this, but in many ways, and I think WFP is working on those kinds of programs where we kind of economically tie the host community's interests to the refugees' interest. As I told you, we are not in WFP, we are humanitarians, we're firefighters. So there are things that are bigger than us. All we can hope for is that the international community does not ignore what is going on, and that they find a solution, a legal solution at the state level that can be viable and sustainable. Something else I would like to say is that I come from a region where many people found themselves refugees in one night, overnight. I'm talking about the Syrian crisis mainly, because the Syrian crisis, I mean, there's also the Yemen crisis, the Iraq crisis, but the Syrian crisis was really, the scale was in the region unprecedented. And I went and visited Syrian refugees in a camp in Jordan, and I remember that they told me something that I will never forget, me as a person even. They told me, we would have never thought that we would be put in such a situation one day. Never, in our wildest dreams. And that day, I thought, nobody is immune. I mean, I don't wish that to anybody, but things happen, right? And if we're not there for those people, nobody will be there for us. Nobody would be there for us. And that is why I really, truly admire the people of Bangladesh, because they did it without even asking themselves the question. They just did it. They found people in distress and they took them in. And nothing bad can happen, because I truly believe that what goes around comes around. That's what I believe in.
So now I would just change the topic, yes, because it got me emotional
and in tears. I'm sorry.
So I would like to ask you the same question that you get asked all the time. So you started your career at the age of 14 on the silver screen, right? So tell us something about your journey from that 14-year-old girl to becoming the ambassador of the World Food Programme. How was it?
Well, it is funny that you're mentioning that, because I still remember when I got appointed in January 2009, I think. When I got appointed a Goodwill Ambassador, it was in a hotel in Cairo, and the ceremony, and I was sitting by myself in the hotel room getting prepared, and I just gazed at the Nile, looked at the Nile, and said, I came a long way since I was a 14-year-old girl, still not understanding what cinema is about, or movies, or starting her journey in life. And one thing changed my vision of things. It's acting and cinema it's beautiful. It gives you the love of people. It gives you you interact with people. They like you. They can also listen to you if you have a message. But if you keep this just about your job, your films, it's nice also, but you don't get the same reward as if you engage in a real relationship with your audience, and when you make yourself useful to others. So it's not easy. Sometimes I get a lot of backlash as well. Sometimes you cannot please everybody. You cannot, but I try as much as I can to give an example of a woman, a Middle Eastern Arab woman who is confident about her work, about her job, who is proud of what she achieved, and who has a voice and is not afraid of using it. And I see many girls, younger, who tell me, you're an inspiration, you really inspire us, because we feel that we can do many things. I can be an actress and a lawyer, and because
I was going to ask the next question. How do you link between the actress and the lawyer? Like, aren't they from two different poles?
They are, but I am not practicing law.
Okay.
So I am a lawyer. I'm a registered lawyer. But I froze my registration, and I am now full-time actress because I cannot be both. I mean, I'm also a mother, and that's also a full-time job. So I cannot. But studying law gave me confidence. It gave me strength. It gave me also education. To me is it is not with financial autonomy, because with education comes financial autonomy. But these are the two prerequisites of any woman being able to think for herself, act for herself, and be an agent in society, an agent of change in society. So many girls I talk to, I always try to plant this seed in them through a film, through a role, or through my work with WFP, or through other things I do, other campaigns I work for. I have less time for me. I have less time sometimes even to see my family, but I believe that this is good for my daughters to have this model in life of a mother who is concerned about others. And who is concerned about not only her little life and her little star. It's good
Stardom.
also. It's also nice, but it shouldn't be the most important thing.
So Colors FM 101.6 is the only feminist radio station in Bangladesh, and that's why we are here to meet you. Would you like to say something to the Bangladeshi women and girls about your experience, or what you think of in this short visit about Bangladesh?
Well, I have been incredibly lucky to meet strong women from Bangladesh who studied in Bangladesh. So I was really, when I arrived, there were so many women working for WFP from Bangladesh and on the field. And my first questions to them was, did you study here? Because, I'm ignorant, but perfect English, perfect elocution, very strong voiced. They don't take no for an answer. In this way, they're very similar to Middle Eastern girls I live with and I interact with every day. I think being sometimes seen as less gives you the strength to show that you are as much, if not more, and you're given one opportunity in life, and either you take it or you don't. The young generation is taking it. If there is an opportunity to learn, they will learn. If there is an opportunity to grow, they will grow. What struck me about Bangladeshi women as well is the wisdom at a very, very young age. They know what they want. The ones I met, and I am extremely humbled of that, they exactly know what they want. And I know that the society is very conservative, and this is very similar to where I come from as well, so I relate to that. I know that sometimes they're pulled backwards, but I see a force that is not going to go back. it can only go forward. And today when I met those ladies in a rural place in Cox's Bazar, not educated, they did not go to school, they don't know how to read and write, they just know how to sign, but today they just discovered their voice. And I wrote to them, they had a journal where people who visited them wrote to them, and I wrote to them, there's nothing more powerful to witness as a woman discovering her voice. Nothing as powerful as that. And us women, nothing can stop us except ourselves. Nothing else. Ourselves. We're very good at stopping ourselves when we get brainwashed into that. But when we know better, we can only go forward. The future is female. This I am 1 billion trillion % sure about it. In Bangladesh and everywhere else in the world.
Thank you so much for giving us time. I think we, Colors FM 101.6 and our listeners, they will have a great learning and a great experience listening to your wisdom, your words of wisdom, your experiences. 10 years with World Food Program, being the ambassador of World Food Program, and also your career as the silver screen actress, the lawyer, the mother. Woman has so many roles. You just cannot, put them in a box.
That's so true.
A woman is so versatile. It comes in so many colors, shapes, and
so
form.
True. So true.
So you are one of the example that we have with us today. And I have been so very lucky to be with you here.
Thank you.
And I thank you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all my listeners.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I am truly, truly humbled, and I am happy that I am given I am kushi that I am given the opportunity to be listened by women in Bangladesh. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
101.6
Colors FM.